Away we go.
Episode 11, part 3. And we're going to start talking about the new kid on the block, as I put it, because they just don't get more green around the ears than this. What's the position?
So he's got two things going on. He's the interim director of the Center for. So this kid's name is Thomas
Fugate.
Fugate,
F-U-G-A-T-E, if you're looking
22 years old.
22 years old. Basically just out of college. No real experience in anything more than like manual labor type stuff. Not that that's...
Let me give you the
okay,
breakdown.
sure.
Yeah, so he's got this thing where he's the special assistant in immigration and the interim director for the prevention, right? So let's just put this in perspective, right? So the guy that was working there before this kid, he was let's see, his name was hold on, just give me 1 second. So I wanted to get some of this up, so I got these names this time and stuff. His name is William Bill Braniff, right? So he had 2 decades of national security experience, academic and research leadership, director of National Consortium for the Study of Terrorism, Combating Terrorism. He studied at West Point. He was the director of education, instructor at West Point. He was a military academy. He served in the U.S. Army. He had advanced degrees from Johns Hopkins in advanced international studies. He worked in nuclear counterterrorism. The list goes on.
So
you get the point.
If you're playing the home game, anybody want to take a guess as to why they picked this kid? I mean, he really is to replace somebody with decades of experience in a high level. Well, you want to tell them, or well, take a guess, folks. You can guess. You can probably guess. Those of you who've been following any of this.
Right. So here he is, this 22-year-old recent college grad of the University of San Antonio, the prestigious University of San Antonio. His previous work experience includes gardener and landscaper and grocery clerk at HEB.
No offense to HEB.
Shit, man, I've had these jobs too, man. I never worked at HEB.
But you didn't jump from working
I worked at Home Depot.
You didn't jump from that to a position that normally takes decades to...
His most leadership experience was Secretary of United Nations Club.
Club. Not a real position.
He has no professional background in counterterrorism. He was assigned to prevention posts, Center for Prevention Programs at the Department of Homeland Security, Maine Huffer, and then he's got, there's an $18 million grant program going on he's got to look over. This is, this is the thing. And, so it's not mentioning it here, but he was an intern at, guess where?
Heritage Foundation.
Yep. So when we were talking about DEI before. And they don't even know what they don't even explain DEI correctly.
So this isn't really even DEI. This is affirmative action. I mean,
but what they claim the problem that DEI is, which is, we're going to get people that are going to get hired that don't deserve positions.
Don't have experience.
And don't belong there because of, some kind of, they're giving preferential treatment, which is exactly
what's going on here, though.
Which is what they do. So anything that they claim, once again, anyone else is doing is what they do. It's so fucked up. It's so fucking hilarious. If this shit wasn't so absurd, it's so comical, and I don't know, man. I would lose my mind if I didn't have a sense of humor about this because it's so ridiculous that any Republican, you're an idiot. You are a fucking moron. I can't even talk to you anymore. You're so stupid that these people talk this shit and do something like this, and then they do something like this, and then you ask why affirmative action is necessary. Because of shit like this, because you would never fucking hire anybody who's qualified if you were fucking forced to. That's fucking why. This is the shit you would do every fucking time. You fucking assholes. So, this just pisses me off. Anything as you can tell. This is the shit.
But it's also in line with, there isn't a single nominee that isn't mind-numbingly bad, and they keep getting worse. And even when they're bad,
and replacing people that are qualified that I don't like or don't have.
And the ones who actually start to say or do something intelligent, then he slashes them down. I mean, I can't stand Tulsi Gabbard, but she spoke the truth when she said that all of the intelligence showed that Iran didn't have any kind of a weapons program to worry about. And but that wasn't what Trump wanted to hear, so fuck her, you know?
Right. And
like,
oh, God. Oh, it's so painful that anybody takes this shit seriously. That anybody takes Trump seriously is fucking... I remember going way back to the first time that he ran for president. I was so stupid. Let him run. This is gonna be great. And I told somebody that. I said, dude, shut your mouth. I'm like, this guy can't win. He's a fucking idiot. He's so stupid.
Well, and then we didn't think he could win a second time.
And then the dude fucking won. I did not realize how fucking stupid and fucking idiotic and fucked up this country is. And in the last 10 years, I've just realized, brain dead fools. And you cannot have a discussion with them. You cannot have a rational, reasonable discussion.
Well, I've tried, and a lot of the time they'll pick one talking point, and they literally cannot come up with words to defend it or a way to get at a second
or they'll come
thought
up
or
with
anything.
some ridiculous sidestep, or cognitive logical fallacy, or move the goalpost. And it just gets to a point where you can't have an argument with them because it's just so insanely frustrating that they just keep on like I said, pushing.
No, but like the administration, I thought you were going to talk about the guy that they hired for FEMA, which FEMA's basically gutted. They've essentially gutted it money-wise. But as I put it, insult on top of injury, they hired a director who was so fucking clueless about what he was going to be doing that he didn't even know that there is a hurricane season. Like that's part of his annual job is to help basically provide money for people affected by the weather. I mean, that's his fucking job.
Going back to the 80s, when the whole idea was government sucks. Yeah, you know why government sucks? Because you don't believe that anybody should get anything from the government except for billionaires and rich people, and then when programs were put into place in the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even in the 70s, and these things like God damn it, even back when Nixon was he would start some of that green shit. And remember the Environmental Protection Agency, even some of these Republicans back then were fucking somewhat reasonable on some of this shit. And no, after that into the 80s, holy shit, man, you can't do anything. And so what do? They defund everything and put in morons who want to dismantle it and then say, look, it doesn't work. Well, of course it doesn't fucking work. You defunded it and you put in idiots in charge.
Yep. The point that you've made before is a lot of things that they pull out and they're like, oh, see, this is what private enterprise does. It's like, no, that's not private enterprise.
Right.
The internet and your cell phones and all this other stuff, a huge chunk of the research and development was done by universities and public grants and these other things that are government programs.
There's nothing, look, any fucking critical technology that you use today was not invented by a corporation. Fuck no. And if it was usurped by a corporation, they got it from somebody who got it from a university, who they hired from a university or something, who learned it over there. Their research facility didn't come up with this shit. And if it did, they probably got backing from the government somehow. Yeah. Or they got scientists who went to universities to learn this shit to do it there.
Right, at the very least. But probably one of the first ones, yeah.
I mean, this idea that capitalism somehow generates better products or advancements in anything is fucking stupid. You know what it is? It's exploitation, monopolization, and it's bullshit. You've been fed a bunch of bullshit and lies since you were fucking born. It takes 18 years to fucking indoctrinate you into this capitalist, religious bullshit hierarchy, patriarchy, and most people can't get their brains out of it because they're too far gone at this point. And and then if you I literally had somebody say, because I was like, I forgot what the exact argument was, but and I just brought up, I'm like, look, there's no discussion to be had on this, and I'm not going to discuss it. I'm just going to call you an idiot. He's like, well, then why do you come on here and call me an idiot? I'm like, just to expose it. And then he said something else, and I'm like, and then I just laid out all this stuff. You're listening to a 4,000 litigations, mostly for business fraud that he's had over his lifetime, whatever, accusations, one adjudication, just on and on and on and on. This guy's a criminal con man.
And has been
undisputed
since his early 20s. I mean,
undisputed. You cannot dispute this. These facts.
Look it up. Yeah.
But he called me. He said that I was, he's like, when you talk about Musk and Yargan and Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation, you might as well be talking about lizard people. And it's like, dude, this is well documented. You can look all this up. This is not a conspiracy.
And people on both sides talk about it left and right.
They're doing it in front of your face. In front of your face, they're doing this. Trump had these assholes sitting right behind him. Thiel funded all this shit. The billionaires in Texas fund all the goddamn fucking stuff.
And they've admitted it now.
Yeah. Just, it's in your fucking face. Fox News paid $700 million. How can you not see it at this point? And then you call it a conspiracy theory, and I'm talking about, fake moon landings. Like, no, dude, this shit's happening in front of your fucking face.
Crazy thing. I was on a thing just yesterday.
And then I'm like, let me just finish.
Oh, sure.
I'm like, look, I said, you're so far gone. You're so far gone that you cannot have a discussion, dude. Oh, this is about Iran and their nuclear stuff. I'm like, no, you know who the threat is? America, not fucking Iran. This is all bullshit.
Yeah.
This is all bullshit. He's like, well, I can't have a discussion with somebody, when they're talking about Mars landings or some kind of conspiracy theories when we're talking about nuclear threat from Iran.
There is no nuclear threat from Iran
to America. Fucking joke. Anyways, that's how far gone they are. So that they think that I'm talking conspiracy theories when they're listening to these corporate con men that have been conning this country for fucking hundreds of years. So anyways, yeah.
I was just going to say, I was on a panel yesterday where we had two, not one, but in the span of like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, two different flat earthers try and join the conversation. And each time it was like, okay, yeah, you believe this religious stuff, fine, we can talk. And then he said, and do you believe the earth is round? And the guy was, well, I'm not sure. Damn, gone. Sorry. Damn, what the hell is wrong with people?
Yeah.
Just,
look, if you can just grasp somewhat of what I'm saying here, right? And there's people that can talk about this stuff far more eloquently than I can on TikTok. So if you're listening to me and you don't fucking believe what I'm saying, and you think
then go find one of them.
Go find one of them, and they're going to tell you stuff.
Not a dime a dozen, but there are a lot of them.
There's a lot of them out there. Go to my fucking feed and just go into my reposts and look at people who know what they're talking about. If you don't want to believe me, because sometimes I'm just fucking just talking shit. But it's not shit, but I don't have this shit together like these fuckers do, who like study this shit on a daily basis. I'm just some guy who's read a lot, read a lot of history. I've read a lot of psychology. I've read tons of shit.
We're not trying. I mean, we're trying to not say anything that's wrong, but
I don't have any formal degrees in this stuff. I can't talk from a position of authority like these people can and deserve to be able to. I don't deserve that title. You don't deserve you're watching me like yes. You can say, look, dude, who you're just talking. Who the fuck are you?
We do have some relevant background. I mean, as far as Iran and the nuke stuff, I mean, I had an uncle who worked for a nuclear power plant, and both of my parents worked in one of the few remaining divisions doing coding on nuclear weapons. Right. I mean, I'm not.
We're both educated.
Yeah, we're both educated.
Far more and have far more literate and far better understanding than the vast majority of people. Right. Doesn't make us better or anything else.
No, it just means that if you come
in, circumstances
if you want to come in and say that we don't know what you're talking about, then you better have a pretty long resume. Otherwise, just shut up. That's all we're saying.
Find people that will explain this to you in a better way than I can, because I don't have that encyclopedia memory that these people have, these professors and stuff, that you just go in there and ramble these fucking names and facts and figures out of their head. I can't do that. I have to look at this shit. Give me about an hour to write a paper and I'll fucking I'll do a good job. But just rambling off the top of my head, I'm kind of fucked, so but that's what we do here.
But yeah,
we're not even getting prepped. We prep like 2 minutes before.
Yeah, it's more like, what's happened in the last week or two and what's our perspective on it, and how can we bring you up to date if you didn't already have a background.
We don't do this for a living. This is not a jam. This is just like we get together on Sunday and do this shit because we're pissed, for good reason. But okay, I'm just trying to throw that out there. Like, you don't want to believe me, fine. That's up to you. Go find somebody who's going to talk something that has a position of authority and understanding, and don't listen to these fucking capitalist pigs. They're going to fuck you over every time.